Come to this press conference on the last day of the 50th edition of the International Film Festival of India. We have with us the cast and the directors and crew of 5 films in the international section. Let me start with the lady on my left. She is Unjoo. She is the director of the movie I Am Woman in the World Panorama section. So, a brief about the director, Unjoo. She is she has been born in South Korea, raised in Australia, and she studied arts and law at the University of NSW before working at ABC TV as an on-air reporter. Her passion for storytelling led her to the Australian Film, Television and Radio School, where she not only won the Kenneth Meyer Producing Award, but she also went on to meet her life partner and his husband. Yes. Yeah. She is also a recipient of the Franklin James Schaffner Directing Award. Unjoo has directed and produced many award-winning short films, music videos, commercials, and documentaries, which have been screened internationally at film festivals and on network television. She is known also for The Son of Bennett and Sorrow's Child. A very hearty welcome to you. And now, on to her left, we have Mr. Dongmin Wu. Hello. And he is here for his film. He is here for his film Vitality, which is competing for the coveted ICFT UNESCO Gandhi Medal. Mr. Dongmin Wu was born at Wuhan, China, and he has graduated from Wuhan University, and he has been a director for several TV shows in the 1990s. After 2012, he began to work on film production as a writer earlier and as a director now. A very hearty welcome to you too. Yes. And to his left, we have Andras Muhi. Hello, sir. He is the producer of the movie X, The Exploited, which is being presented at IFFI in the World Panorama section. And he is a producer and director known for On Body and Soul, Black Brush, and The World is Big, and Salvation Lurks Around the Corner. He is a founding member of Infork Studio. In addition to short films and feature films, his extensive production includes animation and documentary films as well. A hearty welcome to you too. And next, on to his left, we have director Dhondup Tsering. Hi. He is here to present his film Khando, which is also competing for the ICFT UNESCO Gandhi Medal. Mr. Tsering hails from the remote Upper Mustang of Nepal, where he spent his early childhood. He attended his primary schooling in the city of Pokhara and completed his secondary education in the capital Kathmandu. Later, he won a scholarship to the Central University of Tibetan Studies in Varanasi in India, where he completed his Acharya in Buddhist philosophy. And later on, he took a photography course and started collecting and publishing unique stories from his homeland, its environment, and its deep-rooted culture, which have helped him shape his approach to the making of films. A very hearty welcome to you too. We are happy to have you here. And to his left, we have the director Ali Adin, hello, of the film Chronology, which is featuring in the international competition section of this year's edition of the IFFI. He is a director and scriptwriter. He graduated in art management at the Yildiz Technical University and worked as an assistant director in several films and TV series. he wrote and directed his debut feature film, Kuf, okay, in 2012, which won the Lion of the Future Award at the 69th Venice Film Festival. The film was also selected to the Museum of Modern Art 42nd New Director's New Film Selection in 2013. Happy to have you. And to his left, we have Chime Ebuzia. Am I right? Okay. She is the lead actor of the film, Chronology. And a very hearty welcome to you too. I would now request each of the directors and dignitaries on the dais to please share a few words about their films. I would also request them to kindly introduce their co-members of the cast and crew, the other members of the cast and crew of your film who are present among the audience. We would now start with Unjoo. Over to you, please.
Hello, I just arrived in Goa yesterday and I'm very excited to be here at the festival. My film, I Am Woman, is inspired by a very famous song in 1975 called I'm Woman, which was it was sung by a woman called Helen Reddy. And it became the anthem of the the Year of the Woman that was declared in 1975. My movie is very much about the story behind the writing of the song and the life of the woman who wrote the song. And it's set in the 1960s, 70s, and 80s in America. Do I need to say anything else?
You could also say how has this been received by Helen Reddy herself, and also the feedback that you have received to the film, especially from the Indian audience here.
So I haven't seen the film yet with the Indian audience. I just arrived yesterday, so I'm about to screen very soon, and I'm really excited because my film is kind of like a musical, and I know that people love music in India, so I'm really excited for them to see. On the way, as preparation to watch the movie, I watched a Bollywood musical on the airplane, so I was very excited. Helen Reddy is still alive. She's now 78 years old. And I had the hardest screening I've had to do of the movie was during the edit. I had to show the film to Helen and her family. And it's a big responsibility when you make films about people who are alive and whose families are still around. There's a legacy that you have to honor. And I was really pleased to say how much Helen loved the movie. And at the end of the screening, she cried, and she was very touched and moved by what she saw on the screen.
I think that is really a glowing tribute, and when the protagonist of the movie herself was deeply touched and moved by the film. Congratulations to you for the movie.
Thank you.
And now I would hand over to Dongmin Wu. Please, if you could share your thoughts about the film with the audience.
他需要我怎么讲？大家中午好。
So good morning, everyone.
生机这一部电影，准确的讲，它是一个有关于自我救赎和自我成长的电影。我们想在生活中间，我们每一个人都会从弱逐步的走向坚强，所以我们需要成长。我们会把我们做的一些错的事情去改正掉，所以我们需要救赎。所以这部电影是一个表达自我救赎和自我成长的电影。
So Vitality is a movie about self-salvation and growing up. So yeah, because I'm not so good, I'm not a professional interpreter, so I'll just try to.
OK， 同时它是一部关于爱的电影。
It is also a movie about love.
我们在人间有很多很多种爱，
There are all kinds of love in the world.
有兄弟之间的爱，
There are love among brothers,
夫妻之间的爱，
love among couples,
还有邻居之间的爱。
love among neighbors.
但是我们必须要从这种小爱，最终走向到我们把我们的爱给予更多我们不认识的人。
So we need to express our love from those and intimate relationships to the strangers.
这个便就是大爱。
So that's the big love this movie is trying to say.
那么这样一部电影就是表达了大部分的小人物是怎么样从小爱走向大爱的这么一个过程。
So this movie is about those common people, all the common people living in Wuhan City, how they transform their love for people around them to the big love to all over to the people all in China.
最后我想表达的一点就是，它是一个美好的故事。那么在此，我想借这么一个机会，感谢我的祖国。它是一个美好的啊，它是一个美好的故事。
So it's a beautiful story, and the director wants to use this opportunity to say his gratitude to his homeland, China.
因为只有在那么好的国家，有那么多的好的人，才会有那么多美好的故事，所以我们才能把这样的美好写成电影。
So in this great country, we have great love and great stories that we can make it into movies. Yes.
希望大家能够喜欢这个故事，谢谢大家。
We hope that you enjoy the movie and like the story and the love we're trying to express in the movie. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you very much. Films are indeed a celebration of love, and we hope that your film, we are glad that your film also strengthens this testament of films to love.
说什么？
就是感谢。
啊
OK. So we are also joined by Patrycja Planik. She is the lead actor of Lillian, the IFFI 2019 film, which is being presented in the international competition section. And Ms. Planik is known for Lillian and also for the movie Rusiki, the 2010 film. And we are also joined by the director of Fiela Se Kind, the South African film, Brett Michael Innes. The director is here with us. Very hearty welcome to both of you. Thank you. And I would now request Mr. Innes to please share your thoughts about the film with the audience.
Okay, so this one. Speaking to this microphone.
Yeah, please.
Cool. Firstly, it's a great honor to be here, and I just love seeing how the audiences here in Goa just embrace cinema and turn out to festivals. It's not always the case in other festivals around the world, so you really do make us as filmmakers feel very honored and that we're seen and that our work is appreciated, so thank you for that. Fiela Se Kind, the English translation is Fiela's Child. Fiela is the name of the lead character. It's based on it's an adaptation of an iconic book from South Africa, one which was written about 30 years ago. It's one that I studied in school as a 12-year-old boy. It was part of the set work that we did. And it's a story that is very dear to the heart of South Africa and one that resonated with me. And it's set in the late 1800s. It tells the story of Fiela Komuti, a mixed-race woman who finds a white toddler on her doorstep, takes him in as her own, and raises him with her children. And about 10 years later, the government sees this and decides that this cannot be, and they take him away from her and return him to a white family of woodcutters who had lost a child around the same time. And the story pretty much just looks at how these two try to reunite. A story of maternal love and male identity. And it's had its cinema release in South Africa. It had its international premiere at Talon Black Nights. Just came from Cairo, and here we're at IFFI, and we will be in competition at Kerala next week.
All the very best.
Thank you.
Now I would request Andras Muhi,
Yes.
the producer of The Exploited, to kindly talk about his film and his experience.
First of all, thank you the invitation for the organizers. This is my third possibilities to be here. And I really love this part of India and this festival. Thank you. I hope I will come next year too. About my director, his name Károly Új Mészáros. This is second feature film of him, and we started the festival circuit with in Warsaw, Chicago. We won the main prize in Braunschweig, blah blah blah. And I think this is our last venue. This is a very good end for us. My director is basically make a lot advertise and sequences for sequels for televisions, and I hope we will continue our collaboration. About the film, it's a very sophisticated political crime. Let's see it, please.
I would request Dongmin Wu. Oh, sorry. I'm really sorry. Kindly.
Okay. Tastalek, namaste to all. Thank you, IFFI, for this wonderful opportunity. And although like my cinematographer and lead actors also here, but they are not present in the hall. So they have like a very wonderful time, especially my lead actors. That it's her first time to see the oceans, and to taste the seafood, and that was a really wonderful experience for her. And on behalf of my lead actors, I would like to thanks to the IFFI. And regarding my film, Ama Khando, in Tibetan there's also Ama Khando. Like Ama means is obviously a mother, then Khando is a name, but if we translate it, it's called angel or goddess. So it's kind of like mother god or mother god, something like that. So it was really challenging for me to make the movie. Like it took me to at least 3 years that we don't have like a big crew, very small, only 6 of us to make the whole movie, and then we climb up to above 4,000 above sea level, and there's no transportation, everything. It was really challenging for us, and all the actors are like newcomers, they are non-professional, so it was really big challenging, but somehow we did manage, and I'm really happy that like on the screening it was her first time to see her own movie, and she was crying all this time when she was watching the movie. So my movie is about a single mother, how she struggles, like she's illiterate, she had never been to schools, and she's like living in the mountains and doing all this farm and everything, and then she wants to have like a good future for her only son, and she's trying really hard to get a sponsor for her son so that he can be more educated and can have a better life in the future. So then somehow, after a long time, like a long struggling, then somehow she got like a good sponsor, a Tibetan sponsor. Then they have to travel all the way from mountain to the like plain, 0 altitude, and it was a very long journey. And then each passing day, like there's an emotional like challenging. They have to challenge that she have to give her own all each kids to the foster parents. So it was a film about her. It was based on the real life. Like I was inspired by this mother. So I'm really honored that she shared her story with me, and I'm really hoping to show how the film in Kathmandu International Film Festival in December. Thank you. Maybe this one.
No, I think okay.
Yeah, that's
Burada olmaktan dolayı çok mutluyum önce söyleyeyim.
Firstly, I'm very happy and proud to be here.
Asya'daki ikinci film festivalimiz bu.
This is our second festival in Asia.
İlki Busan Film Festivali'ydi.
We had our premiere in Busan, and here we are now.
Film içinde çok fazla sürpriz barındırdığı için çok kısaca özetlemem gerekirse bir kadının kayboluşuyla başlayan.
Because the film, if I talk too much about it, I'll be revealing the plot. I'm just going to keep it short. We're following a woman that is lost.
Ve o kaybolan kadın üzerinden, kaybolan kadının kaybolmasının ardından erkekleri izliyoruz ve onları izlediğimiz zaman Türkiye'de yaşayan bir kadının nasıl bir ülkede yaşadığını anlamaya başlıyoruz.
As we're following the loss of a woman, we get to meet the men, and we get to see the reality of Turkey and how men are in our country.
Aslında sadece Türkiye'yle de sınırlamamak lazım. Belki bütün hemen hemen Orta Doğu'daki erkeklerin reflekslerini izlemeye başlıyoruz aslında.
It's not only based in Turkey. We actually get to see the reflexes of men in the Middle East.
Çünkü ne kadar kabul etmesek de dünya erkekler tarafından yönetilen maalesef. Onlar tarafından bütün gelecek onlar tarafından belirlenen bir sistem.
Whether we accept it or not, we live in a male-dominant world, and they predict the future.
Politikacılar, büyük şirketlerin CEO'ları hepsi erkek. Dolayısıyla bir erkek dünyada yaşıyoruz ve ben bu dünyayı biraz daha, bu dünyadan biraz da rahatsız olduğum için bu filmi yaptım.
We live in a world where we're governed by politicians and big companies, and they're usually all governed by men. And because I am annoyed and I have resentment towards this, I wanted to make a film about this male dominance.
Teşekkürler.
Thank you.
Thank you. I will request to also.
Oh, for me? Well, firstly, thank you for having us here. It's a wonderful pleasure to share our movie here and to see the reaction. I was very proud to be a part of the process. We have a huge femicide and inequality and violence against women in our country. So to present the film here and see how it's received and see that we are not the only country that has this issue shows me how important it was to make this movie. So I'm thankful to my director and the whole crew, and thank you for having us.
Would now request Patrycja Planik to please talk about your movie, Lillian.
Good morning. As my colleagues said before, I'm very, very happy to be here, and it's an honor. And congratulations on 50th edition of this festival. I wish you more and more and more editions. So I'm playing a title role in a film, Lillian, and Lillian is based on a true story of Russian immigrant Lillian. She was living early 30s, and one day, for whatever reason, she decided to walk from New York City to Russia. She wanted to cross the Bering Strait, and she was discovered quite late by Canadian workers. They were building the telegraph line, and one day they saw the woman with the small belongings, small luggage coming out of the woods, claiming that she's walking from New York City to Russia. So until today, she's reported missing. No one ever found the trace of Lillian. But last time she was saw in Dawson City in Canada. So that's a baseline for our film. We were shooting for 9 months in the United States. There was no script for the film, so we let the journey dictate the film. We shot in a documentary style, So all these events that you see in a film, they were real events. Most of the characters in our film, they are people that we met on the road. Yeah, that was quite challenging, but as well beautiful to work this way. The crew was 5 people. It was including me, so there was no makeup artist. No, it's very chamber crew. We shot in the 7 blocks, so every 2 weeks the part of the crew was going back to Austria or New York City, but me and director of the film, we stayed for 9 months in America. So in between the blocks we were researching and as well shooting. So at the end, the 30 minutes of the film that you saw, it's shot by 2 of us. Process of the film, whole post-production process was quite long because we shot 2016. We had the premiere this year in Cannes and the section director fortnight. And ever since that moment, we had a beautiful tour during the festivals all over Europe. But this one is the first Asian one, so we're very happy about that. And that's my first time in India, so I'm super happy to be here and to present our film.
We extend a super welcome to you also to India. Now we will request for questions from the audience. We have a variety of rich films which are being presented by our dignitaries on the dais. I'm sure you will have some questions. Yes.
This is a question to both the actresses. First of all, how tired are you with all the walking? And what was the preparation you had to do, because it involved a lot of walking? And the question to both of you is, what weightage do you give while choosing a role? Is it the director, is it the script, or is it your role per se that helps you decide and say that I want to do this film? Yeah, your role. What was the preparation you had to? Yeah, it's physically, was it challenging, and what preparations, if any, you did? And then in choosing a role, what do you keep in mind?
I had a little preparation in Vienna before, but they were mostly about makeup and some costumes suggestions. But to prepare myself to this role, I think it wouldn't be possible. I really decided to be in a process with this character, and as well because I'm not an actress. That was my first role. I really decided to experiment on myself in this regard, and I was quite determined, and I think that Andras, the director of the film, he was always looking for the personality more than an actress. So he casted over 700 people before he found me. The whole film was a beautiful journey for me, and as well experience for me as a woman, because getting out of this society and how you are viewed as a woman, how do you supposed to look, how do you supposed to wear, how do you supposed to carry your body, it's very restricted, right? So being in this journey with not shaving, not using any makeup, like letting myself to become more rough was wonderful, actually. And like cutting my own hair, it was like great experience at the end of the day, because like getting into this role, working on Lillian, it was very always mute process, because I'm not using any language. There is only my body and my physicality there. So I decided that I really want to experience this journey on myself. So I wasn't washing my hair for 3 weeks before I cut it done. And, because I was doing this, I discovered that, okay, so for my character, they can be like a helmet, they can be like a pillow, they can protect her. So when I was cutting them, I didn't want to give them away. I didn't want to just leave there somewhere. So they became part of the journey, as you know, in a film. I think the most difficult thing for me at the end of the day, it was to leave to Poland, because all this journey lasted for 9 months, and fly back to Poland was only 9 hours. It was tough, though. But yes, of course, I had beautiful support from director and my crew during the process, and after I was as well part of the whole post-production. So yes, that was a beautiful experience for me.
Oh, sorry. Yes, so I've been blessed to have 3 feature films this year in my country. And we met 2.5 years ago. We shot the project 1.5 years ago. Ali had been working on the project for over 5 years. 5 years. So when I got involved, he had a vision of her. He had an idea of what she was, and we first met. And he said, listen, you're her, so I'm just going to go ahead and cast you. I still want auditions, and we'll talk about it. For me, what's important is the script, the director, and what is the story saying. So do I want to be involved in a project? Can I add something to the story? What do I have to say that can add to the story? And because this film and A Tale of Three Sisters, which I was involved in also, they say so much about women in my country, and they say a lot about young women in my country, and I really wanted to be a part of these scripts because these are stories that are not frequently told, and thus I found it important politically, socially, to tell them. And thus I was very much involved in the process of also of making this film, creating it, and and we've been very good friends ever since. So I'm happy to say that the last 3 directors I worked with, not only did we work together, collaborate, and we also became very close and friendly. I consider them my friends. So for me, it's a whole process and journey of how we found each other, let's say. Yeah. Thank you.
This question is for Mr. Tsering. Since you come from a very remote region, which language did you shoot in? And could you tell us a little more about the kind of film industry, if you have any in your country?
My language of native Tibetan is a sort of Tibetan because Mustang is in border between Nepal and Tibet. So we share the culture with Tibetan. So we are more Tibetan. So my language is Tibetan. Then we have these subtitles in English. So regarding with the industry in Nepal, nowadays like in Nepal, like the Nepalese like director, producer, they are more interested in independent than making commercial stuff, I guess. Besides, it's my debut film, so I have no more idea about all those films. But I felt I've been meeting with some directors in Nepal, and they've been like very much interested in making independent film more than commercial. That I know so far. Thank you.
So one of my questions is to Dongmin. Yeah, you told about different sort of love. Do you have any research done on unconditional love? You told neighbors. Ma'am, the question is, he told about different sort of love, neighbors, brothers, partners. Is there anything research is done on unconditional love? Unconditional love. It's a word. It's a word now they use in management and most of your management seminars.
It's love
unconditional.
Love without any conditions. Love come what may, irrespective of
unconditional. Unconditional.
Jane, have
you done any research and what is this call on that?
He's asking whether he has done any research.
Done any research about unconditional love?
Yes, yes. Speak into the mic, please.
我真的不知道这个词在中文里面怎么翻译，就是无条件的爱吧，无条件的爱，是吧？无条件的爱，对，无条件无限制的爱。我问你有没有做一些研究关于无条件无限制的爱？
这是一个什么？
Yeah, I also don't quite understand.
So my other question was to Andras. If you could tell something more about your studio, and are you able to give any opportunities for Indian filmmakers to make movies at your studio? And how do you go about it? Something more on your studios.
About my studio?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, thank you. My studio is the Info Studio, which I established 20 years ago, and I hope it is the most important experimental studio in Hungary and in Middle European countries. But later I started to work in the Fox studio, which is a full production company in Budapest, and I am very love to make film in the experimental and very love to make film as a professional. Thank you.
Yeah. Ma'am Suresh, one more question to Lisa. Yeah, I've been watching Turkish films for the last 10 years in the film festival. Most of your films have a very good photography, a very good music, and very good stories. Any specific reason that among all those regions nearby, your movie always stands out? Is there any specific reason why it does that?
Çünkü içimizde nereden baksan 5 ya da 6 farklı kültür barındırıyoruz.
Because we have 5-6 different cultures,
Maybe more.
Maybe more living in the country.
Ve bütün kültürler bizim ülkemize göç etmedi. Kendi topraklarımıza doğdular.
And these cultures didn't migrate. They're part of the land, part of the culture.
Ermeniler, Rumlar, Kürtler, Türkler, Lazlar.
Right, in English I'm going to have a tough time. But Turkish, Kurdish, Armenian, Turkmen, the Greeks, and all.
Ya da mesela Yezidileri çevirebilir misin?
The Yezidis, forgive me.
Mesela bütün bu kültürler bu topraklarda doğdular ve hepsinin kendine has ritimleri, müzikleri, kendilerini ifade ediş biçimleri var.
They all have a different way of communicating. They all have a different culture, a sound, a different rhythm, a different music, different outlook on life and religion.
Ve hepsi iç içe geçtiği için hepsinden fazlasıyla besleniyoruz. Bu da bize bir zenginlik.
And because they're all intertwined, these cultures, this brings us a lot of richness to a general idea of the culture of the country.
Bence nedeni bu.
And I think that is why we have such a rich film industry.
Thank you. Any more questions?
There's a question about Lillian. If the missing girl is found now, would you like to meet her? The girl, who lost in the journey from US to Russia. Somehow she is traced out. Would you like to meet her?
The real Lillian Nelling. Actually, we was offered to do it. We were traveling in Dubuque, it's in Iowa, and one of our hosts offered us that his friend is a very talented medium, so she can make the sounds for us. So we tried to do this twice, and we never could manage to do it because we were researching and then all the time looking for new locations. So, but it was funny how we missed this meeting twice. It was a matter of minutes or just bad luck. So I thought the real Lillian Nelling, she never wanted to talk to anyone. She was really walking alone, enjoying her solitude. I would like to think that she was enjoying it. So I think I would like to leave Lillian alone in this case. I think she would like to be left alone.
Question for Brett. What's wrong with the South African cricket team? I'm just kidding. You are a writer as well as a filmmaker. What is the challenge a filmmaker faces when he's adapting a book or a play? And that's because you said you did that. So what were the challenges? Because they say a picture speaks 1,000 words. There are so many thousands of words in a book. So what do you leave out? What are those challenges? If you could share with one example.
So I've had it that the door swings both ways for me, where a novel of mine was adapted into a film, and I had to sit back as the author and watch another director do what they wanted with those words. And then for me, the challenge was I was taking a very beloved, iconic piece, one which came with a lot of expectation, and I almost had to separate myself from those voices of expectation or the pressure to, put everything into the film, and to just look at what did I feel was the core of the story, and then be fearless in just chopping stuff away. I think I left out probably 2/3 of the novel just because there's multiple storylines, and for me it was the mother-son narrative that I really resonated with, and then to add stuff from myself which I felt would actually amplify it and make it more contextual to South Africa. So I think anyone who's adapting, who tries to get everything that's in the book onto the page for the film, you're going to have a very disjointed narrative, and it really won't work with the cinematic language.
So there are no more questions. Thank you, everyone, and thanks to Patrycja Planik of Lillian, Dongmin Wu of Vitality, Andrea Muhi of X the Exploited, and Brett Michaelinis of Fiela Se Kind, and Dhondup Tsering of Khando, Ali Aydin, and Timmy Ibuzia of Chronology, and the other director, Unjoo. She had to leave since the screening of her film had just started. And hearty congratulations to all of you for your brilliant works. We hope that your stories and the characters that you have produced travel far and wide across the world and into many film festivals, and also deep into the hearts and minds of people, and instill the thoughts and changes that you wish they do.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you. Yeah.